Hi guys, it's Megan from Vigilante Vibes, and today I'm here with another character breakdown, and it's actually two characters that I think do not get talked about enough. Today we're going to talk about Cloak and Dagger. They both first appeared in Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, and number 64 in December of 1981, and they were created by Bill Mantlo and Ed Hannigan. Tyrone Johnson grew up poor in South Boston. He was a smart kid, but he had a severe stutter that made life very, very tough. His best friend Billy always had his back. When Ty was 17, the two of them witnessed a robbery that ended with a store clerk being shot and killed. The robbers ran, and so did Billy, scared that he and Ty would get blamed. A cop ordered Billy to stop. Ty desperately tried to explain that Billy was innocent, but his stutter wouldn't let him get the words out. The officer shot Billy dead. Feeling guilty and terrified of the police, Ty ran away to New York City. When he got to Manhattan's Port Authority, he was broke and desperate enough to consider robbing a well-dressed runaway girl named Tandy Bowen. But before he could even act, someone else snatched her purse. Ty instinctively chased the thief down, got the purse back, and returned it. Tandy thanked him, bought him food, and the two quickly bonded. Tandy was 16 and from Shaker Heights, Ohio, a wealthy Cleveland suburb. Her mother, Melissa, was a famous, self-absorbed supermodel who'd made a fortune from her career and her ex-husband's estate. Tandy's father had left for India chasing spiritual rebirth, and her stepfather, Philip, was kind. He was kind. But Tandy never got over the feeling of being abandoned. Her mom barely paid attention to her, and when an older boy she cared about left for college, she felt completely alone, yet again. So she ran away to New York, where Ty saved her. Not long after meeting, Tandy accepted shelter from some shady men. Ty, very suspicious, went along to protect her. The teens were kidnapped and handed over to a criminal chemist named Simon Marshall, who was testing a new synthetic heroin for Silvermane and the Magia on runaway kids, most of whom had died. Ty and Tandy survived the injections and escaped. The drug did trigger their hidden mutant abilities, so there's that. I'm not saying to do drugs to get your mutant abilities out, but it worked for them. But also don't. Ty was swallowed by living darkness and developed a constant gnawing hunger that only eased near Tandy, who now glowed with a radiant light. Using a makeshift cloak to hide his shadowy form, Ty began pulling Marshall's thugs into his dark force dimension, while Tandy hurled blades of pure light. They took the names Cloak and Dagger and declared war on drug dealers while helping runaway kids. Later, they learned a demon named Despair had manipulated the events that led to their transformation. They hunted down and killed Simon Marshall and went after Silvermane too, even fighting his cyborg form. Along the way, they first crossed paths with Spider-Man. They teamed up with him to stop the Punisher from killing the Kingpin. Drug dealers later retaliated by kidnapping members of the New Mutants and experimenting on them with similar drugs. For a time, Cloak and Dagger lost their powers to Sunspot and Wolfsbane, but eventually got them back and helped rescue the team, though they declined an offer to join Xavier's school. Over the years, they faced a wild mix of enemies: Dr. Doom, the Beyonder, which was, I believe, during Secret Wars 2, Mephisto, Thanos, and many others. Cloak even played a role in the Infinity Gauntlet saga, at one point pulling Thanos into the Dark Force dimension, only to be killed when Thanos blasted his way out. He was later restored when reality was reset, though most heroes did not remember it, including Cloak. They often lived in churches, supported by sympathetic priests and friends. Ty struggled constantly with his hunger and self-control, sometimes running off when he felt like he was a danger. Tandy, while devoted to him, occasionally wanted more out of life. She briefly performed with Eurocirce as Lady Light, and later joined the New Warriors for a short time. They teamed up with heroes like Spider-Man, Captain America, Black Cat, Iron Fist, Venom, and others to stop Carnage's killing spree. Dagger was seemingly murdered by Shriek while saving Spider-Man, but it turned out she was just gravely injured and recovering inside of Cloak's shroud. She ultimately helped break apart the Carnage family. When Ty lost control of his hunger and started consuming criminals indiscriminately, even minor offenders, he left Tandy. While searching for him, she teamed up with Black Widow and later Daredevil. She joined the Marvel Knights, working with heroes like Shang-Chi, Luke Cage, Moon Knight, and Daredevil, and grew especially close to Natasha Romanoff. Doctor Strange eventually revealed that Ty had been possessed by Nightmare. Tandy temporarily absorbed Cloak's powers to free everyone trapped inside of him. For a while, Black Widow let them stay at her apartment, which was attacked by a rogue Nick Fury life model decoy. Even powerless, Ty managed to defeat it. They later appeared in Runaways, where Cloak was repowered and stable. The LAPD recruited them to capture the Runaways, but during the fight, it was revealed the police were corrupted and working for the kids' villainous parents, the Pride. Cloak and Dagger agreed to get the Avengers to help, but Alex Wilder betrayed the team and the Pride had Ty and Tandy's memories of the Runaways erased. Later, Cloak was framed by an imposter using mutant growth hormone to mimic his powers and attack Dagger. With help from the new Avengers and the Runaways, Ty cleared his name. During Civil War, Cloak and Dagger sided with Captain America against the Superhuman Registration Act. Cloak was tranquilized by S.H.I.E.L.D. while teleporting Cap's team into what turned out to be an Iron Man trap. Dagger was blasted by a Thor clone. Both were imprisoned in the negative zone until Hulkling freed them, leading them to the final battle in Times Square. They continued working with various heroes, like Luke Cage once called on Cloak to help with the new Avengers infiltrate Stark Tower. Later, Norman Osborn approached them in Colombia while they were burning drug fields, offering them a place on his new X-Men team. He promised they could fight drugs globally without police interference. Tandy agreed. Ty was hesitant. They joined Osborn's Dark X-Men and fought protesting mutants like Hellion and Sunspot. But after Emma Frost and Namor betrayed Osborn, Emma offered Cloak and Dagger a chance to join the real X-Men as they prepared to leave the US. And ever since then, we've only really gotten Cloak and Dagger in the Age of Revelation event, which I guess since it was a time travel thing, it doesn't really count, I guess. But they had one of the best stories of the event, so if you have not checked out Cloak or Dagger, it's literally called Cloak or Dagger, you absolutely should. Alright, so that's a breakdown of their story. Now the question is, what can they actually do? Because I did go into a little bit about their powers, but I want to get into the nitty gritty of it all. So Dagger's powers include light daggers, which is, you know, like literal light daggers. They're about 6-inch little light daggers that she can throw from her fingertips. Living light detoxification. Tandy's energy can also purge a person, removing them from their toxins, drugs, all that. Living light manipulation. Non-living objects are unaffected by her daggers, so sometimes Tandy can redirect the daggers after they ricochet. Other times the daggers are dispersed if they hit a non-living thing. Cloak's powers include Dark Force Conduit, which Cloak's body is a portal to the Dark Force dimension, a world of strange, ebony energy. Dark Force channeling. Cloak can channel the Dark Force to create a field of darkness in his general vicinity, usually using his cloak as a focal point to manipulate his darkness, though it can spread well beyond the confines of his cloak. Dark Force teleportation. He can teleport by entering the Dark Force dimension. Dark Force intangibility. As Cloak, Tyrone is usually intangible, though he can solidify through an act of will or by absorbing enough light to saturate his form temporarily. And also his strength level. His Tyrone's strength has been enhanced to an unknown degree, but it is enough to allow him to lift up to twice his body weight. So that is my episode about Cloak and Dagger. I think we deserve so much more of them because they're a great pair of characters. They are excellent. So yeah, this is me manifesting more Cloak and Dagger in Marvel Comics, and someday to get Cloak and Dagger in live action besides their show. It wasn't bad. I don't know. It was alright. So anyways, With that being said, be sure to like and subscribe. You can find me everywhere by looking for Vigilante Vibes. And if you have a character you want to be broken down, let me know in the comments. With that being said, have a marvelous day.